911, do you need police, fire, medical? Police, I just fired. Did you see it happen or just hear it? I seen the flash and I see the people and I heard again. I could still hear screaming.
Detectives arrived to the scene, find someone who has been mauled by dogs. The victim was identified as Curtis Wickham, 26 years old, also known as CJ. He was born in West Tulsa, leaves behind his mother, stepfather, 5 siblings, along with 2 step-siblings. Detectives start casing the scene and learn the 3 dogs were named Boomer, Sumer, and Rosie. They're in the vehicle with the owner right now. The victim is the ex-boyfriend of the homeowner. Her name is Champagne. The owner of the dogs is her current boyfriend, Benjamin. According to Champagne, CJ and a woman he was with was trying to break into their house. The woman fled the scene when CJ was attacked. Detectives notice a red trail from the front door to the road. They find a shoe, clothing, and a piece of CJ in the yard. They see a busted TV on the scene also. But what's puzzling is the 911 caller says she heard the oo-wop go off. So detectives bring out the metal detector and sweep the area the neighbor showed them. They find a casing yards from the home. So now they have to wait for the autopsy to see if he was hit with the oo-wop before being dealt with by the dogs. So animal control come out for the dogs while they secure a warrant to search the vehicle Benjamin is in. They take Champagne and Benjamin to the station for interrogation. As they're patting Benjamin down, they find a cell phone in his pocket. He says it's CJ's phone. So they start interviewing Champagne first. She says they were banging on the door. So she told Ben to get the door. When he opened it,
so when he went in there, when he opened the door, CJ hit him. The dogs attacked CJ. And after that, all we were doing was trying to get the dogs.
Detectives asked her, "You heard banging?" She said yes. So what did they want? She said CJ phone. Detectives tell her she's not telling them everything, so start over. You heard knocking, then what? She said she heard a commotion, then she see Ben and CJ getting into it. The dogs are just barking as of now. She stated once it got physical and came into the house, that's when the dogs got involved. She said CJ ran out of the house backwards trying to escape, but they followed him, and it wasn't good. Now the detectives asked, is there a oo-wop in the house? She said no, a neighbor fired the oo-wop. Then they asked, how did the dogs get off CJ? They drug CJ back into the house. They asked, how did his clothes come off? She said from the dogs. So they wrapped that up. Then CJ's friend, the woman who left the scene, shows up down at the station. So they start interviewing her.
You know her?
I know the family.
Okay, well, hell, I think I'm gonna talk on her first and then hit Ben up. Because if I can lock her down on a story, then I can really pin Ben down.
She states CJ came over there and asked to use her phone. So she asked him where's his phone at. He said Champagne and Ben has it. She offered to walk down there with CJ to retrieve his phone because her and Champagne are friends, so she figured there would not be an issue. They knock on the door. She stated Ben answered in a rage. Ben walked out on the porch. He sees CJ and start throwing hands. CJ ended up putting hands on Ben, so then Champagne gets involved, trying to help Ben. She said her eyes was on the dog.
And as we're walking out, after this all broken up, Ben's like, Marshall, get him. Now this boy with his dogs to get them on. He was begging them to get their dog.
He telling them to get their dogs, but no one helped. A neighbor comes out and let the oo-wop off in the air, trying to scare the dogs. So they wrap that up, look Ben up in the computer to get a little information on him before they start the interview. His name is Benjamin Spence. He has priors for hitting houses, wrestling with a police officer, and a felon in possession of the oo-wop. Ben is currently on federal probation and was tied in with a prison group. So they start interviewing Ben. He states as soon as he went to open the door, it flew open as if CJ kicked it or something. CJ struck him with something and he heard his dogs come off the couch and get him. They asked Ben, as him and CJ had problems before. He said yesterday he came to the house and CJ is in her bedroom while she sleeps. So he asked CJ to step outside, but CJ didn't want it. So detectives asked him, why would CJ back down in, but then bust your door down the next day? Ben said, I don't know, but that's what happened. So they wrapped that up, go talk to Champagne again, trying to clear a few things up.
Champagne, we need to clear some things up. Ben said that he came back home that you were asleep in your bedroom and CJ was in there, so he told you to go outside the front yard.
I don't remember that. I was asleep.
So they end that interview, called Assistant DA to see if they can charge Ben. They were told since this is such a unique case, they would need to speak to some other DAs and determine how they can handle this first. So they released Ben. The next day, Animal Control called with some background on the dog. They were called out to the house a couple times. One was an incident with a kid. The other was neighbors' chickens. And they know that Ben had control over them when he was around. Then all of a sudden, detectives get an email from Champagne saying she wants to talk. When she arrived to the interrogation room, they asked her, did she know Ben had CJ's phone? She said no. Then they asked, did you have any texts in the phone between you and CJ? She said yes. Then they asked the question, did Ben ever try to help CJ?
After it was too late, I told him to pull him in the house to get him away from the dogs. After he pulled him into the house, he picked up the big TV and he threw it at CJ.
So then they asked again, did he try to help? She said no. Then they asked her, when was the last time CJ was at your house? She said the day before. Detectives asked where were their dogs? She said they was in the house. The dogs play with CJ all the time. Now the detectives asked, did you hear Ben give a command? This time she stated he pointed towards CJ. They asked, have he ever gave that command before? She said yes. When he want them to get in the car or anything like that, he just point. Then they asked, why was CJ there and not Ben? Then she states because she's still in love with Ben. So she broke down, said it was one of the worst things she witnessed. So they wrapped that up, speak to the DA again. Now they issued a warrant for Benjamin, 2nd degree M, assault with a D weapon. So they head over to snatch up Benjamin, make contact and arrest Ben. Detectives didn't want to interview him because they didn't want the same story again. Little background on CJ. His mother said he loved NASCAR and fishing, but he was also battling an addiction, but it tore him up that his parents knew about it. That morning, he was on his way to get help. That's why he needed his phone so bad. And that decision ended up costing him. Thank you for watching. Leave me some comments, hit that like button. Stay safe out there. I'm done talking.
I totally believe it's a love triangle because Champagne, I think she had a better relationship with CJ than she actually did with Ben. So that probably added to his rage and his anger against CJ.